Throughout the generations, the Chevrolet Traverse has always been seen as the more practical and larger Chevrolet Equinox, a vehicle giving you 3 rows, better practicality, maybe even better features, but it was not going to be seen as rugged or as durable as a Chevrolet Tahoe. But this new generation is something quite unique considering its predecessors, but it's also a vehicle that has an exciting design and cool trims. And in today's video, we're going to check out what the 2026 Chevrolet Traverse RS will be providing us. We're going to check out the exterior, the interior, take it out for a quick test drive, and see why, if you're looking at buying a fun family hauler and maybe even a vehicle for those cross-country road trips, then maybe taking a look at the 2026 Chevrolet Traverse RS might be a great decision. Now, before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout and thank you to Copeland Chevrolet here in Hudson, Massachusetts for letting me come down here to check out the Chevrolet Traverse once again. Their link will be in the description below, so you can check out their extensive Chevrolet inventory. So as always, let's begin with that pricing. For the 2026 Chevrolet Traverse RS we have today, you're looking at a starting cost of just under $60,000. This will share the top spot in the lineup with the High Country. The High Country will be the luxury choice here, whereas the RS is going to be your sportier option. It looks exhilarating, aggressive, and I think very inspiring here for a 3-row crossover. Now, speaking of crossover, this is not going to be a body-on-frame SUV like the Tahoe, despite the fact that from its design, especially for this generation, it does look body on frame, like with the squared off body lines and the aggressive front fascia, but it's still going to be that unibody chassis you guys all know and love, especially for this particular model and in its class. Now, as you take a look at what this vehicle is going to be offering us here with the RS trim, you get a really cool and sleek design for that front fascia. So full LED headlights and LED daytime running lights, but for me, it's that front grille in the gloss black trim, honeycomb-like, but also you have the gloss black trim that makes its way through the front fascia into the emblem and then to the other side. Really nice. You also have the RS badge reminding you what trim you have purchased here with this model. Now, the contrast with the gloss black and the red we have here for our model is going to be seen throughout the entire exterior, especially for the lower portion of the front bumper. So unlike the Z71, you're not going to have any plastic cladding here, which I know some of you might really appreciate and also really like here with this generation. Now, as you make your way over to the side profile, you have the gloss black trim for the wheel arches, giving you a two-tone look for this model. That gloss black trim will also be found for your side mirror caps with turn signal indicators, also blind spot detection, and you'll have gloss black trim surrounding the windows. Now, the RS is sitting on 22-inch alloy wheels here, and I know what you're going to be saying. Ride quality isn't going to be nice here with the 22s. We're going to find out, because this generation is actually quite refined, and it does mask the fact you are going to have larger tires here. Also, one thing I want to point out too is that you are going to have an 18-inch spare tire if you do encounter flat on those road trips or travels. I do love the gloss black wheels though. Again, matches what you have here for the rest of the exterior. Then as you make your way around to the back by going with the RS, you're going to have LED taillights too. So full LED light setup throughout the entire exterior for this model, giving you a modern and futuristic design. Also, there's some continuity here. The gloss black trim outlining the taillights, making its way into the center portion of the liftgate. Also, of course, that badge as well. More gloss black trim. Then for the lower portion of the rear bumper, I love this. You have quad exhaust tips. Quad exhaust tips here for this model. Makes it look very sinister as well. Also, once again, no cladding here for your bumper too. So very sporty, very aggressive, and looks really fun from the outside. But let me know what you think. Powering all 2026 Chevrolet Traverses is going to be a 2.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, producing 328 horsepower and 326 pound-feet of torque. It is paired with an 8-speed automatic transmission, and we have all-wheel drive for better year-end capability and versatility. Now, these numbers sound impressive, but I still don't think this is the best engine in its class and in its market. But maybe someday we'll get a naturally aspirated V6 again, or a hybrid 4-cylinder, which I think would be very beneficial for this model, most because of that fuel economy. You're looking at right on 20 miles per gallon in the city and 24 miles per gallon on the highway. Not the best in this class, but if you're someone looking for a comfortable and sporty crossover, the Traverse will have you covered in that regard. Hopping inside the RS, the interior is just as inspiring as the exterior, with some color contrasting accents, as you can tell on the door panels, on the dashboard. You also have some contrast contrast stitching as well in the center console, and you have this carbon fiber-like weave, which looks pretty cool here for this model. But I think the seats are going to be the main highlight here. You're greeted by power adjustable, heated and ventilated perforated leather seats for both the driver and passenger, with the driver's side having 2-position memory for added convenience. Now, I know some of you might be thinking here, well, this is the RS, this is a sports tune crossover. Are the seats going to reflect that? Not necessarily. The bolstering and support is not going to be super aggressive, but they are very comfortable and plush, much like we have seen with other trims as well for the 2025 and 2026 Traverse. So I think you're still going to find yourself very comfortable in this model. It's just that with the Traverse RS, you're not going to be going on some winding back roads and carving it up like a sports car. So keep all of that in mind. Also, you will have the RS badge being stamped in the headrests of the seats for a nice touch. Now, with this generation, though, a lot of it boils down to the technology that now makes its way into this vehicle. And Chevrolet wasn't always great at technology, especially for digital gauge clusters and infotainment systems, but now they're starting to integrate Google built-in software. You're getting a more inspiring interior and also more futuristic interior as well. Now, starting off with the steering wheel, you have a heated wrap steering wheel, which feels really nice in the hands. No aggressive 10 and 2 or firm 9 grips, but that's perfectly okay. This steering wheel gives you a sense of quality right off the bat. Now, we have gone over this digital gauge cluster numerous times, but you will be able to customize this screen to your liking with multiple layouts, which is really nice to see. Also, what I like the most here is that you can display your Google Maps as well. So you don't have to look over to that infotainment system if you don't want to. So the customizability is pretty good here for a vehicle in its segment. But as you make your way over to the infotainment system, you have a massive 17.7-inch touchscreen with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto compatibility. Like I said before, you are going to have Google built-in software giving you Google Assistant, Google Play Store. Also, from here, you'll be able to access your climate settings, your ambient lighting, your vehicle settings, camera systems, your vehicle stats. All this is going to be right here within arm's reach. Now, at the bottom of the screen will be quick access icons for your heated and ventilated front seats, AC, front and rear defrosters, fan speed, fan direction, and dual zone climate control up front. You can adjust the climate control in the second row from this screen as well. So really cool stuff here to work with for the 2026 Traverse. At the top of the screen will be quick access icons once again for your home screen. Then also you have more of a minimal layout here where you can display your Google Maps. Also, you will have some more settings here for your vehicle, such as dome light, power window lockout, camera, traction control. All this right here within arm's reach. Also, you will have your music here that you can listen to, whether it's Sirius XM, AM, FM, or when you connect your smartphone. Then you have your tab for your Google Map display, which opens up nice and wide here on this 17.7-inch screen. And then lastly will be for your Bluetooth connectivity. On the left, you're going to notice two more icons, one for your lane centering and then the other for your outside lighting. Prior model years with GM's technology, that exterior light icon would be very difficult to find. So I'm glad to see they have put that right there and visible immediately from the get-go. Also, you'll have a physical dial for the volume as well. Now, when you do place a Traverse in reverse, I'm a poet and didn't even know it, you are going to have a number of different camera angles to choose from here with the RS. This is available in other trims as well. So you have a rear backup camera with trajectory, a top view, side view, trailer hitch cam. It's all right here. Also, you will have a front-facing camera as well. So that gives you a lot of visibility when you are backing out of tight spots in a garage or parking on a city street. Now, as you make your way down towards the center console, you are going to have a single row of buttons here and dials for your dual zone climate control. So dual functionality there, also buttons for your fan speed and also, of course, for your front and rear defrosters. So at least some tactile experience here. Beneath that will be a wireless phone charging pad to go along with the USB-C and USB-A outlet. Then for the center console itself, you don't notice that gear shifter. That will be found on the steering wheel stock. You'll have two cup holders here with gloss black trim. Yes, I know some people are not going to like that because that will be difficult to clean and maintain throughout the years of ownership. You're also going to have a smaller cubby here for an additional smartphone, maybe wallet, or maybe even a card holder as well. Then for the standard storage compartment, very deep here. In fact, almost body on frame like, where I think you can have a couple water bottles, like 17-ounce water bottles in here, which is really great to see. Also, you could probably store some other gizmos and gadgets if you have kids in the second and third rows. Also, I like the lighting here as well. That way, when it's late at night, you can see what you actually are looking for in this cubby. And then lastly, to round out the front seating area for our model, we have a digital rear view mirror giving us a lot of visibility if we have people in the second and third rows. Then for passengers in the second row, they're going to have captain chairs here where they can just relax and enjoy the driving experience. Also, with the perforated leather upholstery, it's going to be very comfortable for them. But it does get even better. For one, we have a higher roof line here, so I don't think tall passengers will be hitting their head on the headliner. But then we get to legroom. You're looking at 41.5 inches of legroom, which is just a little bit short compared to the new Hyundai Palisade and on par with the Kia Telluride. Now, with that amount of legroom, you'll have no issues having average-sized adults sit in the second row. This is huge. Again, gives you a lot of flexibility for this generation. It's the size that I think really makes it a great choice and also is one of the big selling points here for this generation. Now, by going with the RS, you are going to have 2 cup holders here on the center console, but then also you will have your own climate control. Best of all, you're also going to have heated outboard seats here, so during the winter, you'll be nice and warm when it is snowing outside, but also nice and cool with that climate control. You can notice 2 USB-C inputs, also a 3-pronged outlet. And surprisingly for the second row, though, with the RS, we don't have sunshades to block out the haters. But hey, you can't have it all here with the Chevrolet Traverse. And then finally for the third row, you're looking at right on 32 inches of legroom, which again falls right in line with that Hyundai Palisade, with that Kia Telluride. There's enough room here where I'm not feeling cramped or claustrophobic. Obviously, I'm not the tallest person out there, but still, this most certainly works. I am not going to be dealing with any type of fatigue here on a longer road trip if I'm forced to sit back in the bleachers. Now, again, these seats are great because they're not going to be bolted to the floor, so you're not sitting in a ball here. I don't think you'll be dealing with any type of issues when it comes to your legs or even your back. Now, you are going to have some cup holders back here so you can have your drinks, but there will also be 2 USB-C inputs back here so that way you can charge up your smartphones or tablets. Then returning to the rear fascia to take a look at the cargo area once again for this generation. As expected, you are going to receive a power liftgate here with the RS. And inside, behind the third row seats, you're looking at right on 23 cubic feet of room. Yes, that is right. Now, as you guys know, I like seeing more than 20 cubic feet behind the third row seats, so that way I can store all my camera gear, and that was not an issue at all. This is close to being class leading. I mean, this is fantastic to see. I was able to fit all my camera gear, 3 bags of camera gear, a gimbal box, and a tripod, and there's more room to stack on other items as well. If you're going on a road trip with the family or maybe doing a grocery run, you can have your kids in the third row and still be able to stack up all your items back here, which is really great. And then beneath the floor mat, if that wasn't enough, you're going to have another storage compartment for some smaller items, maybe even an additional bag or 2, or a smartphone, laptop, other tech gadgets that you don't want people seeing and possibly stealing if you leave this vehicle unattended for a while. Now, on the right side of the cargo area, you will notice some buttons here. You can automatically lower the third and second row, and you can also raise that third row as well. So really cool stuff here to work with. Now, when the third row seats are folded, you're looking at right on 56.5 cubic feet of room, which is pretty good for a vehicle in this market. Not close to a body-on-frame SUV with a third row, but still more than adequate. Then lastly, with the second row seats folded, this is where it gets really impressive because you're looking at over 97 cubic feet of room, and that's really great in this class. I mean, again, this is not a body-on-frame SUV, but if you need practicality, if you need interior space, this vehicle is going to deliver on that, and we already checked that out with the interior space. So that's where the Chevrolet Traverse is one of the better options in this market, and that's the main selling point here for this generation. So let's start off in sport mode, shall we, with this being an RS. As you guys know, I'm not a huge fan of this turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, despite the numbers on paper. Those numbers don't really translate to the on-road driving experience. I feel a naturally aspirated V6 is just a bit more powerful, or possibly even a hybrid 4-cylinder engine, which would be a huge improvement and I think a great addition to the lineup for the Traverse. But with that being said, since we have the RS, this is a sports-tuned trim, and you are going to notice that the ride quality and the driving experience is just a bit more exhilarating, as most because of the suspension and what Chevrolet had to do with this being an RS. Now, this is far from being a sports-tuned crossover. I mean, you can say it has a sports-tuned suspension, but this is not going to be like a BMW X5M or a BMW X7 M50 that can carve up back roads. This is going to still be a family hauler and road trip vehicle, but it does it just a little bit better and a little bit nicer. even with the larger tires, ride quality, hasn't been diminished. This isn't abusive or too aggressive for me, especially compared to a Z71. The Z71 has the off-road tuned suspension, all-terrain tires. Since you don't have that here, the Traverse is still a very forgiving crossover on the roadways. Now, like I said before with the exterior, it has a body-on-frame look to it, and because of that, the front end sticks out quite a bit, and it creates a bit of an issue when it comes to overall visibility, because sometimes when you're just maneuvering this vehicle around, there's some blind spots there. So take it easy when you are in your child's pickup and drop-off line at schools. But also, because you have this body-on-frame look, you sit very high up in this SUV. I mean, it feels like an authentic SUV, giving you a lot of visibility and safety more importantly. So, like we talked about before with the Z71, nice panoramic view. A-pillars really aren't that aggressive, so I don't think you have any blind spots when you are approaching intersections or red lights. Taking a look at your side mirrors, they're decently sized, a bit too small for a vehicle of this size, but that's okay. Then looking out back, we have the digital rear view mirror, which is great if you have kids in the second and third row. At highway speeds, very comfortable, compliant, and more importantly, quiet. And that is one thing I have noticed across all trims for this generation. Chevrolet really focused on the refinement and the interior insulation, and it's making its presence known even with the larger tires. This is really impressive here. And that is one thing I talked about with the LT as well, that Chevrolet did a really good job with their interior materials, where this doesn't feel like a cheap crossover, or it really is kind of blurring the lines between being mainstream and luxurious, which I really like. Also, of course, it helps out when you do go on the higher end with the High Country and RS. You're going to receive somewhat of a luxurious experience here. Now, heading into these corners, pretty good here. Yes, you still notice the body roll. You can feel that weight transfer a bit, but again, this is not going to be the sportiest crossover out there, and you're still going to have a lack of a lower center of gravity. Very top-heavy for the Traverse, but when you take a look at the interior space, the practicality, that's what's going to have you coming back for more, and why this generation has been such a huge improvement over its predecessor. But the main takeaway for me, though, across all trims is that Chevrolet did a fantastic job of giving you exactly what you want to see out of an SUV in this market and price range, where it doesn't feel cheap, it doesn't feel lacking, it doesn't feel like it's really missing out on some technology features. But better yet, though, this is a vehicle designed for American families. They listen to their consumers, and best of all, too, you have a vehicle that looks good as well, where last generation was a very passive and I think a soft-looking crossover, where now it kind of looks like a Chevrolet Silverado. I mean, I might be going a little too far there with that statement, but it looks really rugged and cool, and I think that's what's going to draw in a lot of younger families as well. Now, as we make our way around to this rotary here, I like this fluid steering. Typically I prefer a weighted steering, but for an SUV in this market that isn't going to exhibit a sports crossover experience, I'm okay with this because of its size and length. The maneuverability is going to give you a lot of confidence when you are driving around in the city and suburbs. But I still think, though, that with this Turbo 4, it's just a bit lackluster. You have to get really deep into the throttle to get this thing moving. And that's my one reservation. But if you can live with that, you'll be more than happy with this SUV. All in all, with the RS, sure, you're paying a premium, but it's fun, it's cool looking, and it crosses off all the intangibles. That's where this Traverse is most certainly more competitive in its class compared to last generation. And having had a lot of experience with Chevrolet way back late last decade, this is just a massive overall improvement, where it's a night and day difference. If you had looked at a Traverse way back in like 2017, 2018, and now you're coming back to this model, I think you're definitely going to be impressed. And I don't think you really need to go with the RS necessarily, because you could go with an LT that's very well equipped, and I think you could be very happy with it. But of course, with the RS, you get more creature comforts and amenities, and this would be a great choice for a more mature family that's growing up and getting up there in age. So I think what Chevrolet is giving you here with the Traverse is a great package overall across all four trims, and it just comes down to what you're looking for. You want to go off-road, take the Z71. You want luxury, go High Country. You want sporty, you have the RS, and then if you want to save money and still receive a good-looking vehicle that also feels refined, you have the LT. So Chevrolet has all their bases covered here, and I have to be honest, this particular generation and this review for the RS has definitely elevated my personal thoughts on this generation. Because yes, I still don't like this Turbo 4, but I can live with it if I'm getting this much refinement and quality, but also value more importantly. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this quick review for the 2026 Chevrolet Traverse RS. If you did, please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more, and I will see you guys next time.